to The Behaviorist with Work Wisdom, where we help you adopt high-performance mindsets, behaviors, communication, and culture. I'm your host, Sarah Colantonio. Our intention for the Behaviorist podcast is to share accessible, concrete practices that you can weave into your whole life to begin a shift towards joy and meaningful achievement. One of the most fascinating ways to grow in self-awareness is through exploring the Enneagram. And if you've engaged with Work Wisdom in any way, you might be familiar with it. And if you follow Liz Orr, aka Rude Ass Enneagram on Instagram, aka my co-host today, thank you, Liz, for joining. You're likely a fan. And one of the reasons we like the Enneagram so much is it really digs deep. It helps us understand our motivations, why we do what we do. And I always think, if you've ever wondered to yourself, why did I do that? Or why did I say that? The Enneagram might actually give you some answers. Today, we're turning our focus on 3 Enneagram survival instincts. And while we have all 3, we tend to default to one of them. And so today we want to learn about the instincts and possibly identify which one is our default. But lastly, how can we apply this information to our lives and our work? So again, Liz Orr, thank you so much for taking the time to have a conversation today about the instincts. I really, really appreciate it. But I was wondering first off, if you could just do a brief kind of rundown of the Enneagram for folks who might not be familiar with it.
Yeah, of course. And Sarah, thank you for inviting me. I'm always happy to nerd out about the Enneagram.
Yay.
And the instincts give us a chance to go deeper.
Yeah.
So this is going to be really fun.
Awesome.
But very basically, the Enneagram is a tool. It is a way that we can strengthen our muscles of self-awareness, of self-compassion, and then compassion for other people. Because as we practice more and more courage and deeper understanding of ourselves, we can do that for other people, which is really powerful. And like you said, our type, so there are 9 different types within the framework of the Enneagram, and our type is determined by why we do what we do, what we are motivated by. And it describes the way that we've come to believe what is true about the world, and then how we respond to the world as we perceive it. So each type has a valid, true belief about the world, but it's limited. It's not the whole picture. But we operate out of that kind of limited perspective, which is why we can see 2 different people of 2 different types coming at the same conflict or situation from a different place, and kind of emphasizing different elements of the same source material, if you will.
Yeah.
The instincts can also kind of help bring more nuance and understanding even to people within the same type or different types. So it's really cool in that regard. And it's just, again, it's just a really powerful tool.
Yeah. I think that when I was first introduced to it, I thought it was really complicated. I was like, 9 types, and then all these other kind of things associated with it. But, when you start to learn more about it, the self-awareness thing, it's like you can't put the toothpaste back into the tube. It's like, now I understand things about myself that I'm just like, oh my gosh, and other people too.
Yep.
It's really wild. But what, so you've done a lot of studying. It's part of the work that you do with Work Wisdom, and then your social media presence. But what was the thing that sort of drew you in about the Enneagram in the first place?
Well, I was first introduced to the Enneagram right out of college, and, I was kind of a silly, dramatic 22-year-old with dramatic relationships and all kinds of emotional reactivity, which 22-year-olds are famous for. And so
True.
I was working and living with the same people. I was working in this intentional community, and we were running a soup kitchen together. And our director was like, well, working and living with the same group of people is a great recipe for murder. So in order to mitigate that, she brought someone in to talk about the Enneagram, to give us this tool to understand ourselves a little bit and kind of be able to have more productive conflict because we're reflecting on our own selves. And in that session, it was really powerful. I just remember feeling like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm exposed right now to my roommates and colleagues. But it was just a really powerful articulation of what I've always felt and what I've always experienced. So that was really what kind of like hooked me in. Yeah. But then as I went on to work in my career, I worked with undergraduate students in a university setting. And as I got to working with leadership teams, I was like, this would be a really helpful tool for young people to know. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of started messing around with it there and reading out of some of the books that I had read. And as I just kept working with it and having more and more conversations and more, content and books were being written about it, I got deeper into it. And in 2018, I started Rude Ass Enneagram because it was this, I wanted to, oftentimes in any kind of inner work that we're doing, we can take ourselves a little bit too seriously. Uh-huh. And so I wanted to create more of a doorway of levity, right? Yeah. Like a way to enter into the Enneagram that is really deep work and again can be very confronting and exposing, but kind of arming people with some humor to take some of the bite out of that. So that's how Rude Ass Enneagram came about, and that's really informed a lot of the way that I try to work with the Enneagram, kind of holding that really deep self-honesty with a sense of humor.
That's so good. And so as we're having this conversation, the federal government has shut down. And as you were talking about the fact that, you were living and working with people and in order to mitigate like explosive conflict, that you took on the Enneagram, and it's like, okay, I wonder, do we need to take the Enneagram to DC? I mean, maybe it would unveil some major issues.
It's worth a shot. At this point, like, let's throw anything at the wall and see what sticks.
Okay, so we're going to say it here on The Behaviorist that if Liz and I we'll come down. We'll come out.
Enneagram will travel. Yeah.
We want to do our part as citizens. Okay. All right. So let's get back to the instincts, and before you talk a little bit about what they are, why do you think, I'm going to go back to the why instincts are important to understanding ourselves? Like what is it about this component of the Enneagram that is really important for us to have self-understanding?
Yeah, so the instincts are they're at very base level, they're survival energy, and they operate in a very unconscious realm for us. They're really kind of situated in the lizard brain, right? So it's not like we are thinking consciously. I mean, perhaps we are thinking consciously, I need to be worried about my resources, or I'm really worried about belonging. But it's really this kind of like constant hum that is informing a lot of our behavior and a lot of what we are focused on. And so having language around that, having a little bit of structure to understand what it is that we are driven towards, particularly in that like unconscious attempt to survive always, is really powerful. It clarifies, it brings to the forefront what it is that we're striving for, which we can then take ownership for, and we can kind of like take some responsibility for and bring awareness to.
Yeah. Okay, that makes so much sense. And before we started recording, you were talking about the fact that it helps us, understand a lot about how we handle conflict, and even like kind of when we're behaving badly, it helps us have a little insight into that. And so I'm excited to hear about the instincts. I definitely I feel very much that I show up as an Enneagram 9, and out of the instincts, there's one that really resonates with me, and that part about the unconscious, making it conscious. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I go at things in this one instinct, and not everybody else does, So it is something. So yeah, let's dig into the instincts. What are the three survival instincts?
Yes, yeah. So the three survival instincts that we have are the self-preservation instinct, which is really concerned with safety, security, resources, our home life, our structure for life, our schedule, our well-being, right? Like our sleep, our eating, all of these kind of bodily needs. It's a very practical energy. And what is true of all three instincts is that we have all three, but we tend to, much like our type, we lead with one of them. It creates some overlay and an interaction with our type structure, which then creates a little bit of nuance even within the type. So you were saying, there's this one instinct that I really lean on as a 9 that really keeps showing up for me. And that's going to make you look different than a 9 of the social instinct, right? So it also can help us land on our type a little bit better when we maybe don't identify with all of the stereotypical features of the type that's presented. But getting back to those instincts, sorry, took a tangent there. So the social instinct is another survival instinct, and that instinct is focused on belonging, right? We are social creatures. We want to be a part of a group. Group provides protection. And so this instinct is really concerned with being a part of something larger socially, but also, social instinct types are very concerned with a larger mission. How am I contributing to the greater good? How am I creating and establishing mutually beneficial connections between me and my people, my group, and how am I making sure that the right people are included and we're keeping away from the people who want to cause us harm, right? So it's very socially minded, appropriately named. And yeah, it's a powerful instinct that we all have. And then lastly, we have the one-to-one or the bonding instinct. And sometimes it's referred to as the sexual instinct, but in most corporate arenas, it's the one-to-one. Yeah. But it's really about that instinct to bond on an individual level, right? To know and to be known. And we think about like newborn babies wanting to kind of bond with their parental figures. That's that instinct at work. And the one-to-one instinct also kind of speaks to our desire to be known as an individual, to kind of broadcast and transmit ourselves and to experience intensity and buzz in life, in our whole bodies, right? And so that, again, another very powerful instinct that we all have.
Yeah, Kedron, she said, can you please ask Liz why it's called the sexual instinct? And she was like, can we just call it the sexy one, because it's the one that she's like, I just want to be known as the Enneagram 1 with the sexy instinct. And I was like, I'll ask. I don't know how it works. It's like, in some ways it's about sex, but in other ways it's really about like all of the ways that we bond one-on-one with those kind of precious relationships in our lives. Okay. I can't remember where I read this, but the way it was described was like, if you're at a party, the self-preservation is like really worried if there's good snacks and if there's like a comfortable couch, and the social one is like, where's the energy at? Like, where are the good conversations happening? Like, where's the, dancing, like what's happening there, like who's, who has power and like influence in this at this party. And then the sexual or the one-to-one is like if they have a good conversation or like connection with one person at this thing, they're happy.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so that's
or depending on their type, if they've got the mic at the karaoke machine.
Oh, okay.
If they're putting on a show, they're happy.
Okay.
Yes, there's kind of a performance art to the one-to-one instinct.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
What's your so
I'm a one-to-one. I'm a one-to-one 8, which I was kind of again we were chatting before we started recording, and last night I was with this group of women and we were kind of diving deep into the Enneagram, and it was amazing, and we got onto the instincts, which was great preparation for our conversation. Sarah. But I was each subtype, which is the intersection of our dominant type and our dominant instinct, has a word that is used to describe them. And for the 1-to-1 8, it is possession. And I was like, it's a little pathological because we 1-to-1 8s kind of want to be the center of gravity in the room. We want to take charge we want possession of your attention when we walk in the room. Yeah. And here I am sitting here spouting off about the Enneagram for 3 hours, and, pathological. I love it. I love being like in that position where I get to just yak and talk and have these really intense, amazing conversations that I feel like I kind of get to hold and contain in some ways. Yeah.
It's so perfect that
you've hinted at it. What's yours?
First I was going to say, one of the things that you do at Work Wisdom is facilitate these conversations. So it's like that if we are going to get to talk about application. So that's kind of perfect. But I can see how all three come into play. But I just default to self-preservation so fast. And I the thing that I think trips me up too is I assume others do as well. Like it's like it is practical. It is about safety. It is about comfort. And not everybody gives a crap about that. I think that's can almost cause some conflict. Because it's like if anyone's messing up my, wanting of predictability and comfortability, I'm like flipping out.
Right. Exactly. It's funny because what you just named is I think true of every element of the Enneagram, but it's certainly true with respect to the instinct, in that it is often what we are known for and what we are loved for, but it is also at the root of a lot of our suffering, those instincts. So they're not all good and all bad. They are all necessary, and they are also all obstacles.
Yeah, all of that is true. So how do I find out what if I'm a 9 self-preservation, how do I find out the word?
I've got it. Some of the greatest subtype work has been done by an Enneagram teacher named Beatrice Chestnut. And she has this wonderful book called The Complete Enneagram, 27 Paths to Greater Self-Knowledge. And she's got a chapter on each type and really goes into depth about the subtypes. So the 3 different types of each of the types. And for the self-preservation 9, the word that she has identified is appetite.
Appetite. I don't know what that means.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I said, I don't know what that means. Appetite, like self-preservation 9s.
So concerned with physical comfort, routines, like you said, like when people are like messing with your safety and security, and your routines, your predictability, self-preservation 9s are really practical. They're really concerned with the everyday kind of day-to-day survival tasks.
Yes.
Yeah. And so when that gets threatened, that's when the 9 gets itchy. The self-preservation 9 gets itchy.
Oh, it's so revealing. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. That is bonkers. It's so true, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, now everybody knows. Yep.
The thing is, Sarah, probably everybody did know. It's like, it's unconscious to us, but then like everybody in our lives is like, yeah, we know Liz loves the spotlight. You know, so it's like just one of those things.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's like the Johari window thing where it's like, everybody knows, but you don't know about your own thing.
Right. Okay. Exactly.
Fascinating. Okay. So, and Beatrice Chestnut, I love her. She wrote the 9 leaders, something about the 9 types of leadership or something.
Oh, yeah.
And related it. So we've used that book before too. So she has a different one that talks more about the instincts. Okay.
She does. Yeah. And it's great. It's a really bulky book, but she brings in like Greek mythology and Dante's Inferno and like illustrations of the suffering of the types. It's really cool.
Fascinating. Okay. I'll have to check that out. So, okay. So now we know what the instincts are and why, why it's important that we understand ourselves through using the instincts. But, again, like, so what do we do with this awareness? What do you recommend? How do we apply this? Because I think that the self-knowledge is great, but the self-awareness level is like where you actually begin to do something with it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. That's such a great distinction, because I've, even in the past couple of months, I've been like, well, if I'm talking about someone, I'm like, well, they know this about themselves, but they don't seem to be doing anything about it. Right. So I'm like, I don't want to call that self-awareness, but the knowledge versus awareness, I think, is a good distinction. So I think that there's a really powerful framework of the Enneagram that I love to use and to teach and to refer to, which is the basic propositions. And what it does is it kind of lays out each Enneagram type almost as a chemical formula. So when our core fear is triggered, then our self-defense mechanism comes into play, and it produces these, predictable patterns of behavior, and we have an emotional experience of that defensive cycle. And so a lot of work has been identified in that emotional pattern, what's classically known as the vice of each type. Each type has an emotional experience of being defensive and protective of themselves and falling into their patterns. And the instinct often operates there. That's where we can kind of identify, like as an 8, my vice is, it's known as lust, or like lust for intensity. It's this desire to kind of like rev the gas a little bit, to turn up the volume and up the ante and just sort of make everything a little more intense. And I can catch myself pursuing that one-to-one bonding, that sort of focus, when I notice I'm trying to turn up the volume here. And it's both, again, it's sort of both good and bad, right? Like there's no higher high for me than a good one-on-one conversation. I love it. I leave buzzing and energized and ready to take on the world. And there is maybe the second highest high for me is turning up the volume on a fight. Like, I love to rev the engine, and it doesn't matter what we're fighting about. We could be fighting about pizza toppings, and I want to get a reaction out of you. And that's me trying to know you on a one-to-one level, right? That's me trying to bond in perhaps a misguided way through that emotional experience of trying to turn up the volume. So we can track our instincts, I think, most clearly within the context of our emotional pattern, the thing that we keep feeling when we are sort of stuck in a defensive place.
That's, it occurs to me that it ties so much to emotional intelligence. It's like being able to read that and then recognizing, okay, I might need to mitigate this reaction. I might need to, I think, you know, in the divisiveness in the world right now, there's triggers all over the place. And so if
my gosh,
right. So if we understand what we're doing, and how we're even perceiving somebody else's maybe desire to connect or, you know, desire to understand, and we're just like pushing back.
Right. Yeah, I think this is true. Again, instincts or not, just when working with the Enneagram, I think what I think that so there's, you know, within the Enneagram, there are all kinds of different triads. And there's a social style set of triads, which is basically like how we try to get our needs met. There is what's known as the withdrawn social style, and that's the 4, the 5, and the 9. And they, like, in order to get their needs met, they unconsciously kind of withdraw. They pull back. And again, in that idea that like nothing is all good or all bad, I think that a lot of the other types can learn from the way that the withdrawn types kind of naturally pause and pull back and zoom out a little bit. And I think if we can all learn how to do that with our emotional reactivity, to first notice it without kind of getting swept up by it, and approach it with curiosity and compassion, and go like, okay, what's really going on here? What is it that really feels like it's that threat? And just giving ourselves that space, right? That Viktor Frankl quote, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our place to choose, right? And taking that little pause when we notice a spike of our own emotions is a really powerful way to give ourselves a little bit of perspective and a little bit of clarity, rather than just getting swept away with it. Now, the withdrawn types need to remember to come back. That's where they struggle. But again, I think it's one of those things that the other less inclined to pause types could learn from. Yeah,
it's so fascinating. With the there's the triads, which how we get our needs met. It does seem like the instincts are tied to that too, but it's a little more unconscious. Is there something distinctly sort of like problematic with, not to ask a leading question, but with each instinct, like what's the thing that, you know, if I'm self-preservation, like what am I, or, you know, if you're one-to-one or if you're social, like what do you want to be aware of?
Yes. Yeah. Not a leading question at all. Exactly. An important question. Because I think, again, everything within the context of the Enneagram exists on a spectrum. There is good to it and there is harm to it. And so for the instincts, I think with the self-preservation instinct, we need a self-preservation instinct. We all do, right? Like, it is a very basic way to make sure that we keep living. And that's important. But I think a lot of self-preservation instinct folks can kind of miss out on the excitement and the joy of life when it's a little more unpredictable and a little bit less structured. And so what they'll want to pay attention to is when they really get stubborn around, like, no, it needs to be this way. I need to be protective of this thing. When they're getting too conserving and too kind of defensive. The social instinct, again, important and helpful for all of us. There's strength of numbers. We all need to belong to something. Nobody exists in a vacuum, and we actually thrive in community, and life gains meaning when we have something greater than ourselves to contribute to. And the social instinct can lack some authenticity sometimes because it's very strategic. It's very like, okay, how do I leverage? And it can get a little bit transactional rather than kind of allowing itself to go deep and be known. So just being aware of when you're really thinking a little bit too transactionally, like, well, what can this connection do for me? Seeing, okay, how can I actually take this a little bit deeper? How can I maybe bring in some of that one-to-one bonding, right? And then the one-to-one bonding instinct, again, like, it's a very natural, healthy instinct that we all need. And it allows us to experience excitement and creativity. It's a very creative energy, but it can also be a very hot, reckless, chaotic energy when it's not sort of focused. And it can drum up drama, and it can get a little bit selfish and a little bit navel-gazy. I joke that, like, the one-to-one instinct is a very main character energy, which, they kind of just think the whole world is reacting to them, which not everybody is. So being aware of when you're acting like, a hot shot, and maybe there are other things that are more important in any given moment.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love it. Okay. This is really good. So I think that, I feel like it does uncover, like, even deeper layers for understanding ourselves, for sure. And I'm thinking, as we keep considering the applications, there's so much benefit to this growth in self-awareness. And I'm also thinking, I mean, I don't know if this is true, but it does make me think about how the instincts can be something that helps us understand how we can be helpful in our workplaces, on our teams, in really helpful and really, like, important, effective ways. And, it's like, it makes sense, I think, in addition to just the kind of person that you are. I feel validated that these circles are really meaningful. It's like part of it is your strength in it. Like, you like this, right? So it's like,
I love it.
So it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So that could be, I don't know, but maybe that could be another application of the Enneagram. We think about, like, the way teams work really well together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. That's kind of a nice extra benefit. I like that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you've got me thinking about, like, the workplaces that I've been in and the role that I've played out of that, like, one-to-one place, and how my colleagues, I have a colleague who's a type 7, she's a social type 7, and how she was always kind of thinking about our place in the institution and our influence and standing and threats to that. And so, it is just like any member of any type of the Enneagram can be a really powerful asset on a work team. Same goes for the instincts. Those instincts can really help us navigate the world of work and survival in the professional sense.
Yeah. Which we probably need right now. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I think we do.
I think we do. So Liz, I'm so grateful to you for being part of this movement of helping others in the workplace to enhance their individual and collective team performance. Thank you, listeners, for downloading The Behaviorist. We hope you'll subscribe. Please contact us through our website, workwisdomllc.com. Where you can enjoy Work Wisdom Press and productions, ask questions, and give suggestions of other topics you'd like us to explore in the future. Liz and I will always dig in even more on the Enneagram if you want. And as is our custom, we'll leave you with a quote, Liz, from your book, The Unfiltered Enneagram. And I'm going to try to not cry as I read this. This is so good. I hope that as you observe yourself and begin to see all the specific ways you're trying to navigate this big, bad world, you can have some compassion for yourself. You're doing the best that you can with what you have available to you. You've survived. And as long as you keep doing that, you'll have a chance to do better next time. You can do this. We can do this. I believe in us. And I'm so grateful to have you on this journey with me.